Welcome back to the Center College Esports match against Marywood University. We are coming to you live or on a little bit of delay this Tuesday night instead of Thursday, just to fit the busy schedules of our fellow team and our opposing team. Today we will be playing on Legion Tower, Blizzard World, and Havana. We will see how these deal with giving us a little bit of an advantage or disadvantage. I don't know. The maps will tell. Both Center and Marywood have not lost a map yet, so tonight's game will be the end of that winning streak for either team. It will be a very close match, so stay tuned for some very, very exciting matches and games up ahead. And this is your favorite Center Esports caster, Porter, back at it again this week. Or, as the cool kids call me, Retro P. And we have 10 seconds until the match begins. This will be a very close game, as I said earlier, so everybody stay on the edge of your seats and let's see the Kerns go to town. They are capturing the objective point for this game. We have all of the Center Overwatch team going all together, and they are really going for this objective point. They are met with a good fray from Marywood, and we'll see who comes in on top. Pro is putting the heat on the other team as well, and it seems that nobody, or one from each team, has fallen currently. We've got the opposing Tomato Tony putting the heat on Center. Let's see if Center can push that heat back. Galvanijo is running back to the objective point, and it appears as Marywood is currently in control of that point. Center is regrouping in order to push Marywood, and all of Marywood is there as well. So it's going to be an all-out fray yet again. We are contesting their point, and we'll see what works out. Marywood is meeting Center before they can reach the point, though, in order to contest it. So Center is having difficulty getting to the point itself. Both Galvanijo and it looks like 5 of the Center team is on there, and they got a team kill as well. Roll Kerns, that is what I like to see. Center is doing the same thing as they do in other games. They are meeting the team before they can get to the objective point, just like Marywood was doing earlier. This is in order to prevent them from even contesting the point. So if Center can keep Marywood away, that means they will have the point longer. Marywood is doing the heat though. As I said, both of these teams haven't lost a map yet this season. So it is very, very highly contested, and it is very, very evenly matched as it stands currently. Marywood is now in control of the objective point, and Center is beginning to push back as well. We have Vector down, but Center is now pushing forward with 5 out of their 6 teammates. The majority of Center is pushing back, and Tomato Tony has been eliminated as well as 2 others. This is giving the Center the advantage for capturing the objective point from Marywood, as the other Marywood teammates have to return from spawn. It is now in Center's hands, and let's see if we can keep it there. Marywood is regrouping, so they are not here yet, but they are now going to be rounding this corner, and Center must hold it back. Currently, Crow is attempting to pick off a couple of the Marywood members, and he appears to be holding them off very well. However, Marywood is contesting the point, but Center does have the advantage as it stands. Sinner just eliminated 2 people, and Marywood is having to respawn yet again, letting Sinner keep that objective point currently. Galvanijo is standing in a corner so that way he can get Marywood without them realizing it, so he can then pick them off. With this surprise attack, Galvanijo is slowly whittling them down. Sinner is going all out right now as they are only 1% away and in overtime. So Sinner is giving it all that they can in order to keep Marywood from capturing this objective point. We are all on the edges of our seats. This is neck and neck as it stands right now. And Marywood has recaptured the point. They are doing the same strategy that they have employed earlier, as meeting Sinner before we can reach the point. Sinner has to get to the objective point fairly quick and recapture it in order to win this round. As I've said multiple times before, these teams are evenly matched to a T. And we are in overtime yet again. Let's see if Sinner can keep it in overtime. Very heavily contested. Galvanijo is zooming around, holding off Marywood currently. And we are still in overtime. Sinner is putting up a very, very good fight. And multiple Sinner players are on a kill streak. However, currently Marywood is coming back from the respawn, and Sinner has now captured and scored the objective point. Pat on the back to the Kerns. Let's roll, Kerns. And we are back for the second round of this match. We have a couple seconds left before Sinner is freed from this area. Maybe that squid will let them out a couple seconds earlier, but we will see. Crow is trying to forcibly break his way out. And we are capturing another objective point. Currently, both Sinner and Marywood are in the objective point, but it does not open for another 10 seconds, so nobody can get it. So they are both fighting in order to hold this ground so that they could be the first one to capture it and hold that advantage for the rest of the game. As you can see, both sides are losing people, so it'll be very interesting to see who captures this point first. And it looks like the Kerns can have captured this first. Currently we have Galvanijo with his Rhine shield up, ready to get any Marywood players that come from that side. However, it appears that Marywood is coming from the other side. However, the Sinner players cannot see this. Only the streamers can currently. We've got Marywood players coming from above and below, giving Sinner the works currently. However, this is not something that Sinner can handle. We've got Blakeu putting the works on the Reaper, and there we go. Blakeu gets the Reaper down, and we proceed to hold this objective point. Sinner is pushing them out of the objective point. They are not even letting them in currently as it stands. They are pushing them farther and farther back. However, the point is being contested, so it looks like someone may have gotten in. We are currently at a 70%, 71%, or even rising now of having the objective point being captured. Looks like Marywood will arrive at around 85%, and then if the Sinner can hold that last 15%, they will win this map on top of their earlier map that they won. We got a Rhine versus Rhine battle going on, two heavy lifters. And it appears that Sinner is still holding them back. However, we are in overtime. We've got Jellymane on the Moira, and J-Double is coming back with a speed on this Lucio currently. Sinner has lost the objective point, and Marywood is currently rising in percentage. However, Sinner still has the advantage here because they have 99% of the objective claimed, and they will have more time to reclaim it from Marywood. Sinner is giving Marywood a rundown right now. They've eliminated half their team with another on the way, and it appears both others on their way as well. Not a full team wipe, however, half and half will do, and Sinner claims the map again. Roll Currents. And with Sinner securing 2 wins on Legion Tower, we are moving on to Blizzard World. We will see how this goes for Sinner. If they can keep up this energy, so fingers crossed that they do, and I wish them good luck.
Initiating match. Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Can you... And we are back in the game. Sinner's giving the works to Marywood as it stands currently. And it looks like it was a full team kill, and Sinner is pushing back against them. Currently, we are in a hybrid game setting, so Marywood will be trying to capture an objective point, and then we'll take a payload to the finish. So center is preventing them from capturing that objective point right now. So center has a little under 3 minutes to prevent that from happening. And center is proceeding to hold them back. Both teams are all live on the field right now, and they are going head to head as it stands. Marywood is contesting the point a little bit, but center is continually pushing them back. We're a minute down, and Marywood has not captured any of the point. This is what center excels at. Center is great at pushing the opponent back and preventing them from ever reaching the point. We've seen this in the last couple games as well over the few weeks. Center excels at pushing the other team back. The Rhine is pushing forward as well as the other players, as I said, in order to even prevent them from having a chance at capturing the point. It is a game of cat and mouse currently, and center is the cat. And we are back. Center is still pushing them, Marywood, back time after time again. If they do slip by, they are quickly eliminated. So and it is now a waiting game for Marywood to reapproach yet again. We got Blakeu shooting off some bullets in order to make Marywood a little nervous and maybe get them in the process. But all we're doing right now is waiting for Marywood to pull up. And here they are. And they are coming in a little stronger than they have before. And we are in overtime. Center has to prevent them from capturing this first objective. And it looks like there is a little bit more time as the payload is now out. Marywood slipped through the cracks right at the end there, but center still has a chance to prevent them from scoring any more points. The payload is moving forward pretty fast, but center is meeting it with all of our force. And it has now begun to stop moving because the Marywood players are being contested pretty heavily. So as it stands right now, we are at a crossroads or a stopping point for the payload. And both teams are all over the place. One-on-one battles are happening in certain areas, while the majority of the team is being met in the center. Center is slowly picking off Marywood. And the payload has stopped yet again right under this gorgeous arch. Center must hold them before that first checkpoint for the payload. So they are around a third of the way to the checkpoint. So if center can hold them here, center can make it so that Marywood has only scored 1 point for this match, or for this map. Marywood is coming back from respawn, and since there is no Marywood players on the payload is slowly moving backwards. However, they are back now, so it is being contested yet again. Sinner is coming in with a bit of a fury, probably because they did lose that first objective point, and is wiping Marywood off of the floor. They're wiping the floor with Marywood a little bit currently as it stands. Let's hope that they bring this energy throughout the rest of the match. We have less than 10 seconds, and it appears that we may go into overtime as it stands right now. And I was correct, we are in overtime. We have a full team kill, so the overtime will be over, and Sinner will secure the map. So all Sinner has to do on the next round is either secure the first objective point and move all the way with the payload, or they can just get the payload and the first objective point. All they have to do is secure more points than Marywood in order to win this match. Looking at the chat, it appears as if some people would like me to refer to the payload this time as the Polar Express again, like I did in last week's match. However, I can tell you this, that it does not look like the Polar Express for Blizzard World. It looks more like a cart. However, if there is a map with a payload that does look like the Polar Express, you can count on me to call it that. So the roles are switched this time. Sinner is attacking while the opposing team, Marywood, is defending. They're having to go around this very gorgeously gold inlaid statue, and Marywood is attempting to hold them off, but Sinner is going all the way around and is now on top in order to attempt to pick off the Marywood players and secure that objective. It appears as Marywood has lost them, but Sinner is better than that and is going full send. And the turns are now rolling. It is a full firefight as it stands, and both sides are taking others out. We have a full team kill, just like at the end of last game, for Sinner, and they are now capturing the point without anybody defending it. If Sinner can secure this, they will now have the upper hand way earlier than what Marywood had in the first round of this match. The Rhine currently is blocking off any other players from entering the other side of this arch in order so that the payload can move without anybody interfering with it. The farther away that Sinner pushes Marywood from the payload, though, the faster the payload will move. However, Sinner, it appears as if Sinner College has won because they got the checkpoint and beat out Marywood just by getting that checkpoint. So they scored more points and that game automatically ended. So Sinner has secured 2 out of the 3 maps so far. Roll currents, baby. And the match is about to begin. We will be coming to you live from Havana. Sinner has played on this earlier in the season, if not in the preseason. So we will be getting ready now. Havana is a very interesting map because there is a lot of high walls in places, so there's a lot of corners, which means teams can be taken aback at times. But for a map like this, or for a game mode like this, which is just the payload, it'll be interesting to see how things go. Sinner is setting up in a building in order to try to use these angles and corners against Marywood. However, now they are on the offense. They are trying to get Marywood before they even exit their respawn. So they're keeping them as far away from the payload as possible. With a map like this, with a payload, all that Marywood needs to do is capture the payload and then just continue to the checkpoints. There is not going to be a point like last time for them to capture at the beginning. They just need to capture the payload itself. Center is keeping Marywood at bay though, right at spawn. Center does have the disadvantage fighting here though, because Marywood can respawn right here, whereas Center has to walk all the way across the map, which takes a lot longer. So Marywood is at an advantage, so if Center can hold them here, that shows how skilled Center is at this game. Almost a full team wipe for Center, but they are still holding the ground. Marywood is respawning and waiting until their whole team is respawned in order to try to attack Center yet again. Marywood is pushing back, but Center is pushing back at the same rate, if not harder. Even if Center does lose this ground ever so slightly, they still have the rest of the map to push Marywood back on. We've got the Rhine, played by Galvanijo, guarding the rest of Center's players as they come back from respawn, but the payload is moving forward to the first checkpoint. However, Marywood is meeting Center, and they are going head to head. We've got the Rhine in the middle for Marywood, trying to get people to works, but it didn't really work as they were eliminated by a member of the Center team. Marywood is pushing forward though with the payload, but not as fast as they should be. Center is still holding them back pretty strongly. As the payload does move farther in the map, Marywood will lose that respawn advantage that I mentioned earlier, and Center will then gain that respawn advantage. So the farther in the map, the larger the advantage Center will have. However, hopefully Center will prevent them from reaching that far in the map. Marywood has captured the first checkpoint now, and it looks like the payload has stopped as Marywood is moving forward in order to prevent Center from meeting the payload. We've got Center up top attempting to snipe off the Marywood players, and it looks like a Tracer is trying to come around back. Center is having none of this, and they're pushing. It's a Rhine v Rhine up front, and Center is pushing back. We have a shield up from the Rhine, and the payload is now moving backwards. Well, now forwards now. So the payload is right beneath Center's feet, and you guys can tell that the Reinhardt is doing a great job, as when they do put their shield up, they are doing a really good job of defending the other Center players, like that right there, Speak of the Devil. We've also got a Mei here, played by Crow, and they are giving it their all. Really pushing back against this Rhine. Someone is very much asleep, but that's not stopping Center. They've gotten 4, now 5 members of the opposing team down, and will hopefully prevent this payload from getting any farther. They have around 2 minutes and 10 seconds to hold though. But as I said, see how long it is taking Marywood now to respawn and regroup and make it back to the payload. The farther in the payload, the longer it's going to take them to reach it after respawn. So if Center can do any more team wipes, that will put Marywood at a huge disadvantage. The payload is continuing to move forward though, but Sinner's having none of this, as when it does move forward, it then stops because Sinner is putting the heat on Marywood so much. The payload is approaching the second checkpoint very rapidly now, as there are 3 people in the vicinity of the payload. It is being heavily contested because Sinner does not want to lose this checkpoint with any of their being. They have eliminated half the team, or half of Marywood's team as it stands currently, with another on their way. So that means that the payload is moving backwards, and Sinner will be pushing forwards in order to keep them from getting back to the payload. There's around 30 seconds left in the match, so we'll see if Sinner or the Currents can keep up this energy. Hearts are racing both in the players and me and in our viewers, so this is a very close game. It is a Rhine on Rhine battle right now, and the Marywood Rhine comes out victorious, but that is not the end for Sinner, as we are in overtime. If Sinner can send some of these Marywood folks back, then they might be able to pull away with a victory here. The payload has reached the second checkpoint though, so there's now another minute and around 20 seconds left in the game. Marywood does have 2 points currently, so all Sinner needs to do now is prevent them from capturing that final checkpoint. Sinner is all up next to where the payload has to come in a straight line, so they are now setting up in a way that will hopefully block Marywood from moving any farther in. So we do have the Widowmaker sniping people off from a corner, and it's working very well. So right here, Marywood has peak disadvantage if any of their players die. It'll take them a fair amount of time to get back. So if Sinner can eliminate some of them, then they will most likely be able to eliminate the rest. However, Sinner is just like Marywood is at the beginning. If they do get eliminated, they respawn right away, right next to the payload. The payload is very, very close to its final resting point. Sinner really needs to hold this and prevent Marywood from progressing. And it looks like Sinner has prevented Marywood from reaching that objective point. Let's see how Sinner fares in round 2. Roll Currents.
Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
And it looks like the next match is about to begin. Roles will be swapped for this one as well, so Sinner will be on the attack. Sinner does very, very well when on the attack, so we'll see if they can hold that energy for this match as well. It appears as if Marywood is meeting Sinner in a different space. They are meeting them on the top of the hill instead of right where the payload is. Center will then be able to capture the payload immediately, unlike Marywood last time, who was prevented from capturing the payload for a handful of time. Payload is progressing. Marywood is trying their best to hold Center off, but Center is putting up a great fight. And we have Marywood's Widowmaker down. So Center is moving forward ever so steadily, and they are halfway to the first checkpoint already. They're giving Marywood the works as it stands currently. Center is bringing the same energy that they brought to their other games to this one as well, with not trying to lose any maps as it stands yet again. Very quick into the first 30 seconds, I believe, Center has already gotten the payload to the first checkpoint. This is very fast, and let's see if they can keep up that speed for the rest of the map. We've got Crow picking off other Marywood players as it stands currently, and J-Devil picking off another. Blakeu is putting up strong defense by getting the Marywood players across this little map here, and while the payload slowly moves forward. So he's trying the best to prevent anybody from getting close to the payload, and they're doing that great. And Center is approaching the second checkpoint rapidly as well. They're keeping Marywood enclosed in the second floor walls, and Marywood is trying to come behind, but they are met with a wall of players yet again. The payload is being contested though, so Center must capture this payload and then the final checkpoint in order to win this map. We have a 5-player kill streak and 2 players on Marywood down, and Center has captured the second payload, or the second checkpoint with the payload. We are now at the spot that Marywood was at near the end of last game, where we're going to have this straightaway here in a bit, and that will be where the teams go really head-to-head as the payload passes through. Center's attempting to eliminate a couple of the Marywood players in order to clear the way. However, it's going to be difficult here because Marywood has their respawn right behind where the payload is going to rest. The Marywood Tracer is putting Crow through the ringer, and it looks like he is putting them through the ringer as well. The payload has stopped moving, or it is moving slowly yet again, but Center's making great time for this map and has put up a shield as well. The Orisa is meeting the other team with Fury, and the payload is almost at its final resting place. The opposing Rhine has put up a wall, and we'll see how this plays out. The payload is not currently being contested and is about to reach its final resting place. Center College wins yet again on this map and on the others tonight. This leaves the Center College Colonels undefeated for this season, winning all 9 of their maps so far and all 3 of their games. I cannot say this more enthusiastically. Let's roll Kerns. Those of you who are tuning in today who haven't tuned in before, or those who have tuned in before and are very loyal viewers, I'm going to remind you guys to follow the Center Esports channel on Twitch and turn on those notifications for when we go live. Spread the news about how well Center is doing this year, and tell your other friends to tune in, or force them to tune in. We want as many viewers as possible, and this would not be happening without the support from y'all and our amazing Overwatch team. So, Real Currents, and we will see y'all next week sometime.